When a homeless woman, unseen by most, became the very thread holding life and hope together. She once had a name people called lovingly. She once had a home filled with warmth, laughter, and safety. But life, in all its unpredictability, stripped everything away from her. Misfortune does not knock politely, it storms through the door, and before she could take a breath, she found herself wandering streets that were once familiar but now carried a different gaze, a gaze of pity, suspicion, and judgment. She became the woman people crossed the road to avoid, the one who received stares instead of compassion. She slept under bridges, ate when someone happened to show kindness, and endured the painful truth that the world only values you when you can offer it something. Yet even in her struggle, she protected one thing, the light inside her heart. She still believed that every person, no matter how abandoned, carries a purpose. And that purpose found her on a day when the earth roared, when the buildings trembled, and when lives were shattered without warning. The sky was choked with dust. Screams echoed through the cracked streets. Rubble covered the ground like the earth had swallowed the city whole. She ran, not away, but toward the disaster. It wasn't bravery she considered, it was instinct, fueled by compassion that hardship had failed to extinguish. Her trembling hands searched through broken concrete, pulling at whatever she could move, desperately trying to find signs of life. Then she heard a faint cry. A voice buried beneath large slabs of debris. She rushed to it, coughing as dust scraped her lungs, her muscles weak from hunger yet driven by something far stronger, the refusal to watch another life slip into silence. She knelt beside a woman pinned under rubble. Her shirt was soaked in blood, her breath shallow, her eyes filled with fear. And suddenly, two strangers became bound by fate. The trapped woman trembled as she tried to speak. She whispered that she was the wife of a man feared by many, the leader of a biker group known for toughness and a loud reputation that spread wherever their engines roared. They were men who lived by their own rules, men whose appearance alone made others step back. But in this moment, titles, reputations, and labels were meaningless. There were only two women fighting for one life, together. The homeless woman pressed her hands against the heavy concrete. Years of hunger had weakened her body. Her bones ached, but she refused to surrender. Sweat poured down her face as tears mixed with dust. The injured woman begged her to leave, to save herself, because anyone who stayed risked being crushed by shifting rubble. But she did not move. She did not run. She stayed. She pushed. She fought with all that remained within her. In the distance, the roar of motorcycle engines broke through the chaos. Dozens of riders charged forward like a rolling storm. They were searching, desperate to find their fallen family. They saw a figure ahead, small, dirty, unseen by society, yet performing a miracle. She pushed against the concrete with every ounce of strength she owned. Muscles strained. Her heart pounded. And finally, the stone gave way. The biker leader dove from his motorcycle, sprinting to his wife's side. He fell to his knees, eyes filled with panic and love. He called her name again and again, clutching her hand like it was his lifeline. Paramedics arrived soon after, carrying her from danger, racing her toward survival. As relief settled into the air, the bikers turned toward the woman who saved her. They stared at her not with judgment, not with mockery, but with awe. She stood there exhausted, shaking, and covered in dust. She expected perhaps anger, maybe misunderstanding, maybe to be pushed aside like every other day. Instead, the leader stepped toward her slowly, his eyes full of gratitude deeper than any words could express. He looked at her like she was the most important person in the world. And at that moment, she was. He asked her name, a simple question, one she had not heard spoken gently in years. Her voice broke as she spoke it. For the first time in a very long time, she was seen. She was human again. And she mattered. The biker leader made a promise right there in the broken street, that she would never go hungry again, never sleep in the cold again, never be forgotten again. His wife, now safe and breathing, asked to see her rescuer. When they locked eyes, they exchanged something powerful, not just gratitude, but recognition. Recognition of the courage only someone who has survived life's harshest storms can possess. For heroes are not defined by wealth. They are not dressed in status or privilege. They are defined by heart. The world had tried to break her. People had labeled her as nothing. She was judged by her appearance, her condition, her misfortune. But the truth is, courage does not wear clean clothes. Compassion does not depend on a home. Heroism does not wait for introduction. This woman, who had every reason to be bitter, chose kindness every single day. And that kindness, that unstoppable humanity, saved a life that many considered more valuable than hers. And in doing so, she reminded everyone that worth is not something granted by society. Worth is something you are born with, and no circumstance can take that away. The biker group, feared by many, surrounded her not as warriors but as protectors. They picked her up gently from the shattered ground. They gave her water, warmth, and a promise of safety. The man whose wife she saved bowed his head to her, a silent gesture of honor, respect, and eternal gratitude. And when the dust settled and the city rebuilt itself brick by brick, the life of that homeless woman also began to rebuild. She was no longer living unseen. She was no longer just surviving. She was lifted by the very people others assumed she should fear. They offered her a home, not out of charity, but because she had become family. She did not ask for anything in return. She saved a life because it was the right thing to do. But her courage did return something, her dignity, her place in the world, her belief that life still had a purpose for her. This story reminds us that it is easy to judge from a distance. It is easy to assume. It is easy to overlook. But humanity demands a deeper view, to look into hearts, not appearances. To see people for who they are, not for what they lack. We must understand that heroes walk among us disguised as those we ignore. The man sleeping on a sidewalk, the woman searching for food in a trash bin, the person we avoid eye contact with, they are not invisible. They are fighting battles we cannot see. They carry stories filled with pain, but also strength. And when the world needs saving, sometimes it is the ones who have been broken who know best how to save others. In that moment of destruction, the ground opened up, but so did the truth. The truth that compassion is the greatest force on earth. The truth that one act of courage can change 100 lives. The truth that every human being deserves respect, dignity, and the chance to rise. This story teaches us to treat everyone as though they are important, because they are. It teaches us that fate does not give warnings before it tests a person's soul. And it teaches us that heroes are not born in comfort, heroes are forged in the fires of suffering. So let us carry this message in our hearts: never underestimate the one who seems to have nothing. 4. Sometimes, those with nothing give everything. The homeless woman who once walked alone now walks with people who will defend her for the rest of her life. She became the heartbeat of a group known for strength, showing them a strength far greater, the strength of compassion. Her story continues, not as a forgotten shadow of the streets, but as a living symbol of hope. A reminder that kindness can rise from the darkest corners. That bravery can be born from brokenness. That no one is ever too small, too poor, or too lost to save a life. She saved a wife, a leader, a family, and in doing so, she saved herself. And now, the world can no longer deny what she always was. A hero. A warrior of compassion. Proof that love still breathes in forgotten places. Proof that one person, even someone society counts out, can hold up the world when it is breaking. And because of that, she will never again be invisible. She will never again be forgotten.